Alright, it's been another season. We hit Plat 1 again, of course. Uh, Dinomorphia. This is the deck list I use, so I'm gonna run through it real quick. Just sort of give an overview of the deck and why we're playing all our cards. And what I think, there are a couple things I think I would change. But I'll get there when I get there. Let's run through the cards real quick. We have Miscellaneousaurus. This is basically if you have Theresia, Miscellaneousaurus can protect Theresia effect, which is pretty good. It's pretty cuttable, but when I was pulling, I pulled. You can see I couldn't not play it. I played it. I would say it's probably cuttable, but it's definitely not bad. I don't know where I lie on that. I think probably later when they release the rest of the Dinomorphia support, it would be less better, just because currently it's a little more iffy. Then you have Theresia. This is the normal summon you're hoping to draw, and you basically she just sets any Dinomorphia trap, of which you're probably getting Domain or Brute or Sonic. Those are the three big ones. Diplos is your other normal summon. If you have Torrential or Brute, him sending Theresia is fine. Fossil Dig, this is a search Theresia. If you already have Theresia, you're searching Misk so that you can protect Theresia effect. You run Duality and Prosperity because they help consistency. For Prosperity, you're going to be banishing 2 Stealth Bergia, 2 cards, these 2 don't really matter, and then Serb Phoenix. And then that's just because like you're never using those cards. So you banish those 6 because you know, you're digging to look for stuff. But we'll get to the extra deck and what we use it for later. We're playing Called by the Grave. A good portion of this is I needed an out to DPE. So there's not much else to say. It hits hand traps. It hits decks in the middle of their play sometimes. But the big reason was I kept being like, oh, DPE completely ruins me and this card beats DPE. Torrential is incredible. Torrential's really good going first. It's sometimes good going second, depending on the deck you're playing. Torrential's just really good. That's why I'm a 3. Ferret Flames is another board clear, and it's good if you are able to, if your game plan is going off, Ferret Flames is great. Even if your game plan's not going off, sometimes they'll just smack you in the face and you can Ferret Flames and they can't kill you. Domain, incredible fusion card, lets you go into Kentrigina by sending monsters from deck. Really awesome. Alert, you use to get Theresia and Diplos back on field, or sometimes Kentrigina on field, because it's 8 or less. So you can get 2 materials, you get one material, you can set up for extra deck plays. You get another Theresia or Diplos effect. You can protect from battle. It's a very nice recovery play, but you usually only really want to use it once. I could see hypothetically wanting to use it twice. Brute is just a pop. You have to pop a Dinomorphia monster you control. It doesn't target. This is just a really freaking good card. I didn't mention, if you're unaware, the Dinomorphia main deck monsters float when they're destroyed if you banish a trap from grave, which means, so Diplos will float into Theresia, and Theresia will float into Diplos, which means Diplos can set up just a Dinomorphia trap fodder, and Theresia obviously can set you up for a play later by setting one of your other traps. Really incredible. Solemn Judgment beats. I've had it beat Red Reboot. I've had to beat Harpy's Feather Duster Red Reboot, which was Judgment Sonic. Really nice. It's a very good card when you're going first. It's almost always useless going second unless you're playing against Prankit or something. I mean, it still has uses going second, but going second, I would actually consider cutting Judgment because it's so consistently not good going second, but also it's just so incredible. Strike, incredible. First, second. If you're going first, you're going first. If you're going second, it helps you push through effects that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get through. This card sucks, but I never regretted having it. Not a single time did I draw this card and regretted having it. But you can, if you're looking for bad cards to cut, this is definitely one of them. Sonic is the actual good counter trap. This is the counter trap you want to be playing. I would just play that one. If you want to play this deck better, it's probably, and you want counter traps because you're afraid of battle damage, it's probably best to just play 3 Sonic. I really like Reversion, but it's not actually that good. Originally, I was on 3 Judgment, 3 Warning, 3 Strike, but the thing is that going, and I was on 3 Reversion too, but going second is what you are more concerned about. Reversion has some implications, and can like basically be another Solemn Judgment or Strike, which is really strong. But you do need to be set up for it, and sometimes you're just not set up for it. Like, I literally found Shell more consistently useful than Reversion, which is very funny. This card is so bad. Literally, though, just having... I had it where it was useful because it's another Dinomorphia with a different name on field. I've had it where it's useful because it protects my other monsters from combat. It's such a bad card. So funny. Anyways. But yeah. If you want to play this list but better for the main deck, I would cut Judgments for like Compulse or something. Whoops. I think Compulse would be good. Something like Lost Wind, maybe. Effect Negation. Oh, I'm sorry. What you're actually going to play is Infinite Impermanence. That's not in this deck list because I'm bad at life and didn't want to play it. So I think playing like 3 Infinite Impermanence instead of Judgment, taking out Reversion and Shell for Infinite Impermanence. When the ban list comes out, you're going to be playing, you know, 1 Pot of Prosperity. So that'd be 3rd Infinite Impermanence. You can even keep Reversion or Shell if you want to be bad. You could put in Trap Trick, but Trap Trick is good depending on what your hand looks like. I wouldn't advise playing it generically. It's very specific. If you're unfamiliar with Trap Trick, it essentially just banishes a normal trap from your deck to set one, but you can only activate 1 more trap per turn, which is why it's really awkward. Okay. Extra deck 3 Kentragina. This card's incredible. You can copy a normal Dinomorphia trap in your grave. So you can make another Kentragina once per turn, obviously. Also, when Kentragina is popped, she floats into one of the main deck Dinomorphia monsters. And she doesn't need to banish a trap to do so. So it's really solid. So if you have like Brute in grave and you need to pop an opponent's card, you can have her copy Brute, pop herself and whatever you need to pop, and then she can float into Theresia. So you can set up another domain or alert to get back into her if you don't have any materials in deck. Just a really solid card. Stealthburgia. You're never making Stealthburgia. On occasion, it does come up because this just does. You make this because you want to use Solemn Strike and you're out of life points, or because you're in a game state where if your opponent activates like any monster effect, you can burn them out, so they can't play the game so they can't activate monster effects effectively, because it inflicts damage equal to the attack of an opponent's monster. Original attack, by the way, which can be relevant. It also floats, but that's not super relevant. So sometimes burn damage is your win condition. Stealthburgia does that. We play 3 because why not? I've literally never even wanted to make more than one. But I have occasionally made, I've had like 2 or 3 games where I made one. And then proceeded to win the game because of it let me activate strike / burn damage. You have Lagia and Dolka. If you're looking for if you're looking for Urzacut, don't play Time Thief, Redoer, or Castel. I literally never made these. These are completely irrelevant. I just was playing rank 4s I could make that could feasibly come up, and they just never did. But Lagia is basically another copy of Solemn Judgment from the extra deck. So if you have extra, if you're in a game state where you just need an Omni Negate, this does it. They can't normal, special, activate a spell trap. You know, that's pretty good. And Dolka is just 2 monster negates. It's just 2 monster negates. These you don't use frequently, but when you do, you're usually going into them because they immediately win the game, essentially. But normally speaking, like, it'll put you off of engine, and you don't want to be off engine. You want to be able to do a long grind game. So I wouldn't generally advise it. Unless you have enough, like you have 3 of these on field, then I'd say go for it. But generally, I'd say you don't do this unless it's literally like, oh, your opponent has like 2,000 life points, and they have no cards in hand or on field, and you just want to Lagia whatever they try to activate, like, sure, whatever, that'll work. But I would not advise using them too frequently. So these are pretty cuttable, but you will on occasion lose a game because you didn't have them if you don't have them. Zeus is similar. Sometimes you want to turn one of these into Zeus. In that case, any generic rank 4 is generally better than using Dolka or Lagia, just because, you know, Dolka and Lagia are more generically useful on board. I have used Redoer or Castel, but you could do something like Malevolent Sin, if you want like a cheap rank 4 that you can just stick in to make and put Zeus on top of. There's probably a better rank 4 for that, but heck if I'm figuring that out right now. Cerberus and Phoenix are just here as bits of removal, come up occasionally. Unicorn, once again, bits of removal, comes up occasionally, and in this case also lets us make a big access code talker if we want it. Access code talker came up in 1 game. Unicorn comes up randomly. These are fairly generic. If you have them, put them in. If you don't have them, I wouldn't worry about it. But that's the deck list. I enjoy playing it. This doesn't have like a great win rate, but I think a lot of that is attributed to the fact that I just went second a lot. I just went second a lot. So, overall from Plat 5 to Diamond 1, I went 90 and 68. So, like, you know. Yeah, but like, most of my games were in Diamond. The Halcyon deck going second against it is just so impossible. That's the one time where you're going second. Like, if you get like Ferret Flame Strike Judgment can be relevant, where you'll Ferret Flames, they'll do a negate, you can strike the negate, and then when they use their counter trap negate, you can Judgment it, and can actually like clear the board with Ferret Flames. But you'll note that's like a 3-card combo. But you're just not. You're just losing to the Halcyon deck if you're going second generally. But I think that's standard practice. And we're not playing hand traps because I just feel like, generally speaking, it's not worth it. Except Infinite. Infinite Impermanence is just almost unequivocally worth it, and is only beaten by Crossout Designator, which means that Infinite Impermanence will be even better. Since they'll only have 1 copy of Crossout. Yes, this list should be on Infinite Impermanence. sense. This deck is very expensive. There's a bunch of URs, like Theresia. 3 is basically mandatory, as is Fossil Dig, as is Dinomorphia Domain. Technically, I wouldn't call Strike and Judgment mandatory, or if you called one mandatory, it would be Strike. But Judgment's the easier one to get, since you can get a copy guaranteed from the bundle. Strike does not have that luxury. Strike, but I would say Strike is almost certainly mandatory in terms of, well, at least, like, I think Judgment might not be optimal, just because it's so much worse going second, and, like, winning more going second is going to be your problem. Judgment, I think the number of games you lose to, like, Harpies and stuff is less than the number of games you'd be able to win going second if you had, like, compulsory evacuation device or something. I will say, if you're looking at this deck and wondering why I'm not playing DPE, it is for that reason exactly. If I'm going first, I'm already probably winning the game. We have a bunch of really powerful traps that are really hard for opponents to beat, and DPE is just, oh, here's another really strong thing that you can't beat. But when we're going second, firstly, I'm not summoning 2 monsters on my first turn. Like, you can't make Verte to go into DPE. You just have to hard draw Fusion Destiny. And secondly, almost every deck has an Omni Negate, and they're not gonna let you summon DPE, or they're gonna Ash. So I mean, if you're really good at drawing Fusion Destiny and you're not going against Halcyon all day, sure. But generally, you want to be able to activate all of your stuff at the same time. And when I tried, I did try playing DP, and I just find going first, it's just win more. I don't need to win more. I need to win going first. I need to win more going second. And going second, like, you're activating Theresia. You're activating, like, if you have a hand that's, like, good, you could activate Fossil Dig, Prosperity, and Duality. And that would be it. That's like the 3 cards you can do, plus your normal summon, and maybe Misk as well. And that's a very unlikely hand to draw. So it's unlikely that you can make them use enough negates that your Fusion Destiny would be able to resolve. In my experience, at least. If you're going against decks that don't have such a strong opening board, and, like, you can burn Ash more easily, or something like that, Fusion Destiny might be better. But I think, given how popular the Halcyon deck is, I just don't think playing DPE is good enough when you're going second. And it's not consistent enough. So I don't like it. But yeah, I think Solemn Judgment here is... so if you want to see what we can do here, I can quickly do what I would put in here after the ban list. It's possible there's another trap that would be better here, but... And then we would cut... I would keep Reversion because I'm bad. Keeping Shell is Shell's such a bad card. But I would say, like, after the ban list, I'd want the deck to look something like this. The idea basically with, like, compulsion stuff is that you just want a bunch of cards your opponent has to negate so you can push through effects when you go second. So being able to say, okay, Ferret Flames is going to get rid of something, you have to negate that. Fine, you negated that. Compulse, fine, you negated that. Infinite Impermanence, fine, you negated the idea. So the idea is that you have a bunch of effects, so even if you don't draw Solemn Strike, that you have a bunch of other cards that they'll have to negate. Oh, you negated Brute? That's fine. I'll activate something else, you know. That's the whole concept. Is that the negates, the board of negates they'll have, you'll be able to push through, because you'll just have mandatory negate cards. That's it. This is what I think. I think this is going to be how I build the deck after the ban list comes out for the next season. But yeah. Alright. I've been just rambling for too long now. Later.